Take out your little card that you received when you walked in, please. Just hold it up for a sec. Perfect. Okay, read this with me. Even if it's not the most true statement that you feel today, go ahead and read it with me. Today was the absolute worst day ever. And don't try and convince me that there's something good in every day. Because when you take a closer look, the world is a pretty evil place. Even if some goodness does shine through once in a while, satisfaction and happiness don't last. And it's not true that it's all in the mind and heart, because true happiness can be obtained only if one's surroundings are good. It's not true that good exists. I'm sure you can agree that the reality creates my attitude. It's all beyond my control, and you'll never in a million years hear me say that today was a good day. I think today was a good day, but I think all of life is defined by our attitudes. We have autonomy in how we react to what happens around us, inside of us, and between us. When something doesn't go our way, we can choose to be disillusioned, choose to be disappointed, choose to be dissatisfied, and choose to be disheartened. But can't we also see the same situation from our half-full glass that sits before each of us as well? How do we create an attitude of positivity when life can take us on journeys in other directions? 5 years ago, I was asked to help a congregant with a ride to the doctor to have some stitches removed. I noted her pleasant demeanor and I asked how she felt. "I'm fine, thank God," was her seemingly simple answer. Her reply was so calm that I ventured to ask her what her surgery had been for. Mistake. "Oh, I had a mastectomy," she said, as if she was telling me that she had a splinter removed from her finger. Thankfully, I kept my eyes on the road, but I was floored by her outlook on the whole thing. "I'm sorry, I didn't know," was all that I could say. Then, in Hallmark style, she proceeded to comfort me. "That's all right," she said, "dear. Don't take it so hard. They found no indication that any further treatment is necessary." I smiled and kept going. This woman had prepared a positive attitude before she was faced with adversity. She'll tell you herself that the strength to heal and go on with her inspiring life came from the knowledge that one's limited view of what it's all about is just that, limited, and that there's a higher goal and we should always try to remain positive. Yes, bad things happen, but how we internalize any given situation is up to us. Positive thinking is powerful. But positive thinking for most of us is extremely difficult. Relationships are trying. Our marriages are challenging to maintain. Our children are hard to raise. Our parents make demands on us, and our jobs are stressful. And then a person like me comes along, stands in front of you, smiles, and simply says, "Just think positively." How annoying. I get it. I wasn't always this way. How many of you have heard of daily affirmations? Rabbi Kariolitsky, in Sacred Intentions, his book on daily affirmations, lays out a platform where he acknowledges even though our lives are stressful, we have the power within our own minds and actions to make the changes necessary to live a life more positively. If you believe the phrase, "you are what you think," then life truly stems from your thoughts. But we can't rely purely on thoughts. We must translate thoughts into words and then eventually into actions in order to allow our intentions fresh air to breathe. This means one thing. We have to be very, very careful with our words. We have to choose to speak only those which work towards our benefit and cultivate humanity's highest good. Affirmations help purify our thoughts and restructure our dynamic of our brains so that we truly begin to think that nothing is impossible. And when we verbalize our dreams and ambitions, we can become overwhelmed with a sense of possibility, becoming realized into actuality. So here are a few examples of affirmations. 1, I am the architect of my life. I build its foundations and choose its contents. 2, my body is healthy. My mind is brilliant. My soul is tranquil. 3, happiness is a choice. I base my happiness on my own accomplishments and the blessings that I have been given by God. 4, today I abandon my old habits and take new, more positive ones. I found that daily affirmations helped me face each day. They can help us gain a perspective on life that without might seem random or disconnected. When we allow ourselves to see through an affirming pair of eyes, as opposed to those of judgment, we allow ourselves to rise above the moment of chaos or even negativity and plant ourselves firmly into a moment of connectivity between ourselves, each other, and God. Reb Nachman of Bratslav used his own list of affirmations when teaching his students. He encouraged them to speak daily that 1, they believe that they're very important in God's eyes. 2, they believe that they can return no matter how far he or she has strayed. And 3, they believe that they have inner strength to change. Even our ancient teachers believed in the power of positive thinking to create a freedom from negativity and low self-worth. Think back to the Torah portion of Chaye Sarah, or the life of Sarah, where at the age of 127, Sarah, an exemplar for Jewish women, our matriarch, dies. With her husband by her side, we are to understand that her life was not one of ease, but of positivity. However, although she did live many long years, and we've come to learn that those years were filled with many mitzvot, at first, second, or even third glance, I don't know who would say that the life of Sarah was positive. First, she had to travel far away, and then there was famine. She was kidnapped twice and experienced years of childlessness. Finally, when Sarah did give birth to a boy, Isaac, he was brought up to the mountain and almost sacrificed by his father. Now, I would call that a difficult and troublesome life, full of sadness and hardships, long days and long years filled with tears and negative thoughts. So what's the reason that the text says she had a good life? I want to suggest it was because of the way that she, Sarah, looked at her life. She looked at it positively. Sarah understood, and so must we, that the negative things that occur in one's life can be devastating or can become an opportunity to grow. Another way Judaism encourages us to think positively is, not surprising, to see the good in things and in people. This is called having an ayin tovah, literally a good eye. Having an ayin tovah doesn't mean pretending that flaws aren't there. It's not encouraging us to stick our heads in the sand. Having an ayin tovah is more like looking at the entirety of a person to see the good as well as the things which could be improved upon. It's normal for a person to have positive attributes alongside traits which may drive us up the wall. With an ayin tovah, I can see a person who has a fault instead of seeing a person who is a fault. There's 2 approaches I use to cultivate an ayin tovah when interacting with someone. The first is to reframe bad traits into a more positive format. Instead of viewing someone as careless, I could see them as laid back or relaxed. Instead of seeing someone as impulsive and their impulsivity as negative, I could see it as positive spontaneity, as someone being quick to act when action is needed. Stubbornness could be reframed as dedication and determination. I sure am dedicated. The second approach I use when reframing isn't an option is to look for the person's strengths. Maybe someone is an incorrigible gossip, but is capable of doing tremendous acts of charity. Or maybe a person is flighty and unreliable, but is an exceptional listener. Instead of choosing to focus on the frustrating traits, I can concentrate on the positive and see the contributions that this person is making to the world. Having an ayin tovah can also apply to ourselves. For example, if I'm feeling frustrated with myself, I could view things negatively and focus on all of the things I'm not doing right. This usually leads to a whole bunch of negative thinking. Wow, I've done it again. I am never going to change. I'm just going to keep banging my head against this wall. Obviously, these thoughts don't lead to anything productive, except perhaps the consumption of raw cookie dough. However, if I'm choosing to view things positively, my inner monologue will be totally different. Wow, okay, here I am, I've done it again, but it wasn't as bad this time, and it's been a while since I made this mistake. It's frustrating to still be acting like this, but at least I can continue and try and change. Who's up for cookie dough? Even quantum physics, an area of study I did not study in college, has discovered our thoughts have a frequency and a corresponding unique vibration that will attract other aligned frequencies into our lives. Therefore, negative thoughts equal negative events. Positive events are because of our positive thoughts. Therefore, they conclude we are actually drawing experiences towards us and pushing them away from us. And all of it is completely in our own control. How we spend the days of our lives, happy, joyful, grateful even, all in our control. Longer, happier lives filled with positivity? I'm in. At the beginning of my sermon, we read the description of a world through the eyes of negativity. It spoke of how everything is innately horrible and that people are not good at their core. Life is predetermined and the chaos of our everyday lives is inevitable. Basically, it painted a picture of a depressing mess, and after reading it out loud with all of you, I felt like one as well. I want you to hold up your card one more time. I want you to turn it upside down. Now turn it back. This is a perfect size for your wallet or your purse, ladies. It can serve as a reminder about how we are about to turn this on its head, and the exact same thing that we could do with our perspective. I'm now going to read this from the bottom to the top. Today was a good day, and you'll never in a million years hear me say it's all beyond my control. My attitude creates the reality. I'm sure you can agree it's not true that good only exists if one's surroundings are good. True happiness can be obtained because it's all in the mind and heart. And it's not true that satisfaction and happiness don't last. Some goodness does shine through once in a while, even if this world can be a pretty evil place. Because when you take a closer look, there is something good in every day. And don't try and convince me that today was the absolute worst day ever. More applause. Thank you. On this Rosh Hashanah and within these days of awe, I pray that we are each blessed with the ability to see the good in others and the true beauty within ourselves. May we have an ultimate change of outlook and turn our hearts towards the new year with positivity and love for one another and for God. And let us say, Amen.